Okay, so starting our analysis, we'll look at E Honda. So first, I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare his height to how long his arms are, and this pixel height here is 364 pixels. Okay, and then once I measured that, we can then go ahead and sorry, it was trying to figure this out. Yeah, now we can compare his arm length here, which gives us 247 pixels. So now we can go ahead and calculate this. And well, first we need to find the Honda's height. He is 6'1", 73 inches tall. So now we can go to a calculator, or yeah, and divide 364 by 247. Okay. Now we can multiply his height. Now we divide his height by this number to get how long his arms are. 73 divide 1.47, and that gives us his arm length right there. So now that we know his height and his arm length, we can start analysis. We can analyze his how high he can jump, because he can jump insanely high. So we'll take this comparison here. Okay, that is a total height of 445 pixels. Okay, and again, you can divide that by 364. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, now we multiply his height of 73 inches by 1.49. And once we do that, we get 109.281. So now we check his headbutts to see how fast he can travel. This is going to be a lot longer than the other stats we're trying to analyze here. And so first we're going to take 505 pixels, the length, divide 364. Now we can multiply 73 by 1.38, and that gives us 101. So that's how far he travels in inches. And then now we can take the startup of that move, 13 frames. So his move is active for 12 frames. We can divide by the frames per second, 30, and divide by how long the move is active. Divide 12. That gives us how many inches he'll travel per second. So that is 14.38 miles per hour. So, 6'1", his arms are 4'1" each. He can jump 9 feet 1 inches, and 14.38 is his max speed. And now we're on to M. Bison. M. Bison is likely a lot more simplistic character in general. So, first taking the measurements of his height, 265 pixels. And now we can take how long he travels with the scissor kicks. This is to measure his speed, which he can travel 629 pixels in that distance. So now we can take his height, 5'10". Okay. Um, calculator. That's six. Okay, yeah. 5'10" is 70 inches tall, right? Yeah. Multiply 2.37, 165.9. Okay. And his knee press, or his scissor kicks, is active for 17 frames. Yeah, okay. So we can then use a calculator, multiply frames per second, and divide by how long the move is active. Divide 17, and that's how many inches he can travel per second. This is equivalent to 16.634 miles per hour. So, summary, he can travel 16.63 miles per hour. He can also float and fly, as you can see in the images further left and also further right. Okay, and now on to T-Hawk. Um, his height in pixels is 385, and then we can also take the measurement of how high he jumps. So he can jump very, very high up, and that's 420 pixels. Okay, now we can do we check his height, 7'7". That's 91 inches in height. So he's really tall. 420 divided 385. It gives us that. And then now we multiply 91 by this number to give us how high he jumps. And that is 99 inches. So on average, he could jump 8.265 feet, and his height is 7'7". Okay, now we get onto his dive. His dive will allow us to know his how fast he travels. The dive is 552 pixels long, divided by height. Now we multiply 91 by this number, and then that's how far he dives. Now we need to multiply by the FPS, and I estimated, okay, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that his move has 7 frames of startup, this dive, okay? It doesn't tell, there's no stats on when it ends, because it ends whenever it hits the ground or whenever it hits a person. So, um, what I decided is I'm gonna divide by 13, since I think that's how long the move is. Me personally, I'm not exactly sure. Although, I mean, now we can um, move it over, and that gives us 17 miles per hour. So those are the stats. On to Dalshim. Dalshim, first, let's get the obvious parts out. He's very skinny and he can teleport. Being skinny, it's not a bit of a deal in basketball, but who knows, it could come in. Okay, his height is 379 pixels here. Okay, now we can take the length of his arms. Okay, let me measure this here, and that is 310 pixels. No, 311, maybe. Okay, 310 pixels. So then, I measure that, and that gives us 4'8". Let me show you the process here. So we divide 379 by 310. Then we take his height here. Let's see, what is it? It's 5'9". Yes, 5'9". So now we can translate that over. That's 69 inches in height times, or divide by 1.22, and that gives us the length of his arms. Okay, so now we get into the comparison. So I'm going to be ranking these characters, and I'm going to be giving them points based on what characters they can counter, how well they would actually do in the NBA, and what they're best at. So T-Hawk gets a point. He's by far the tallest, so that's one tally for him. His second point is that he has the fastest overall speed. That's the second one. For M. Bison, he gets a point because he can fly and flow, and another point since he has the fastest ground speed. And then E Honda gets a point for being the thickest of them all, and another one for having the highest jump. Dalshim gets a point for being able to teleport, and another point for having the longest arms. Okay, and now we get onto counters. E Honda can counter M Bison because if M Bison tries to fly around to get a dunk or something, E Honda can just jump up and smack him, and M Bison's not gonna be able to do much about it. E Honda is he's a beast. He's actually weighs about as much as Shaq, like pretty close to. Shaq weighs like when he played like 295. E Honda weighs 302 pounds, so very close. And he also gets another point because he can counter T-Hawk. T-Hawk's actually an easier counter because T-Hawk can dive straight down to the net. He can't really fly around him. I mean, even if M. Bison tries to, all Ihana has to do is just guard the net, and then it's just easy wins by that. And Dalshim doesn't counter anybody. He doesn't get countered by anyone. M. Bison, T-Hawk don't affect each other. T-Hawk doesn't affect Dalshim too much either. Actually, no. T-Hawk gets a point because Dalshim can't guard T-Hawk. If T-Hawk's slamming at like 17 miles per hour to the net, Dalshim's not going to be able to do much about it. Otherwise, M. Bison can float around. He can take the ball from T-Hawk in the process. Okay. And now we get on to how well they would do overall. Okay, Dalshim He can teleport, so he can be anywhere on the field, and he gets another point. Well, he can control the field. He can he can control anywhere on the field with his arms, since how long they are. He can, no matter his position, he's gonna be able to take the ball, and along that, he can go anywhere he wants, which is really valuable. E Honda is gonna, since he's such a beast, he's gonna be defending every shot, no matter what. If it's a 3-pointer, he can just jump up for it. If somebody's trying to dunk, he just jumps and then they fall over. T-Hawk, since he can dive at blistering speeds, he gets a point because that means he can dive in for a dunk no matter what the situation. That makes him a great comeback option. And Bison, he can fly around the teams. This allows him to take the ball while it's floating in the air, and this also allows him to go around any form of defense. And now we have our results, and I really hope you enjoyed.